to do some colours for skin. I like ears because they're subtle, nice sort of subtle things and different shapes, good clear shapes. So it's a really good place to start ears. So I did that one the other day. It's still wet. There's my attempt. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but close enough is good enough, I always say, because you can always come back into it. That's that ear. I might do that one again. This is another ear. These are a little bit too big, I think, for today. If you go a little bit smaller than that, it'll be easier to, because we want to fill this up with paint and then start putting paint into paint. So you actually got to use wet on wet, yeah, a fair amount of paint, even for that size.
That's the hardest, isn't it? Like with oil, it's just, you know, you can easily do that with acrylic. So with oil,
you want to paint thin, but no, we want to. I'm not going to use any medium and pretty much hardly any solvent actually. We just want to use straight paint. Unless you paint super thick like that, we might need a tiny bit of solvent to thin it, but we really want to go with straight paint. Yellow ochre, that's your best bet for skin. Yellow ochre is an easy yellow to use, so I recommend it. It's in the Zorn palette, you know, the Zorn palette, black, red, yellow ochre and white. So we use yellow ochre because it's a gentle yellow, easy to use. You can use other yellows, but then you've got to be more subtle with your mixing. We want to use red. Now the thing I noticed with myself, with this one too, is I like more than one red. So 2 or 3 reds are good. Red, because reds give you the different pinks, and when you mix them with the yellow, you get more subtle skin tones. See the difference? That's got more cadmium red in it, and when I added this rose red into that one, look at the difference you get. So you can change up your reds more easily than any other colours that have already got white paint. And this one had them all. Oh, there we go. Lost it. That one, that's a good effect. This one had the wet paint.
Throw things around the room.
Yeah, it had both the reds in it, but more of the cad red. But you can see just a subtle difference. Well, you could see something. Anyway.
Well, we can't see.
Yeah.
What is white? Is it titanium?
Titanium white. Yeah, titanium white's good. It's nice and opaque, a real white, so best white to use.
Do you only use the titanium white? Because, you know, over the years I've seen other things like there's Chinese white.
Zinc white. Zinc white's transparent white, so zinc white's lovely for very subtle things. Maybe on your second layer, if you've let it dry and coming back in, you could use zinc white because you're just going to do very subtle things. So it's a gentle white to use where you don't want to dump a whole lot of white.
Yeah,
good for glazing layers. Yeah. That's zinc. I love vintage white a lot. Yeah. It's a warm white, so if you've got a warm looking skin tone, which most often skin tones are warm, you don't have to kind of tint it with a bit of yellow, you've already got that in it. So vintage white's really nice. So yeah, you can change up your whites, no problem. So I'm going to pour a tiny bit of cadmium red. You don't need much cadmium red actually, compared to the yellow ochre. Look at that. Yeah. You really don't need much. This one I'm using permanent rose, but you know, you could use alizarin, or there's lots of different reds you can use, but permanent rose isn't quite as strong either, so I'll put a bit more of that on my palette than cad in red. So that's 2 reds, but my third red is burnt sienna, Count Meadows red, and that's not a strong colour, so you can put a little bit more of that out too. So there's my 3 reds.
Well, you could use like a maroon.
You could use maroon, you could use umber, you can this red here, light red, that's a great red too. Yeah, so you can change them up, try different things. Even an orange might be good for medium. So really, I guess, like if you added all them together, it might add up to nearly that. So that, and I want a blue. I like, so especially for light skin, cerulean blue is great because it's a very gentle blue as well. It doesn't totally change the colour of, you could put a fair bit of that. It's not strong, so that's a great blue to use. I'm going to use that blue.
Plus it makes great greens.
Does make great greens.
Green dots.
It does, doesn't it? And so, if I was doing something like, say, that, that'll give me a good enough dark. But if I'm going to go into something like this, see the dark hair, I'll need to add something darker in my palette later. So what I would do is probably add a black or an umber or a darker blue to mix with your brown. But black's pretty good, so I'll put a bit of. That's not black. It's actually Payne's grey, but I'll put a bit of that one. Too much, but that's okay. There's my palette. And then, so with oils as opposed to acrylics, we want to mix everything on our palette first, all the tones, all the colours, most of them. Doing this. So you can spend like 20 minutes or whatever doing that.
I was finishing off my bird the other day in the hall, and I just thinking to myself, I am spending so much time mixing.
Did it help?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, it was right. And I remember I had Cherie on my shoulder saying, because she cut me off, because I haven't painted in oils for so long, and that, you know, to make sure you really mix the oils
well
because they're not like acrylics.
Mix them well. Mash this pigment together. Yeah. First thing to do is mix your brown and your blue together to make a dark without the black. So leave the black till later. Mix your dark. So what kind of dark am I going to get with this? So I should get some kind of dark. See, that's a good dark. So there's my dark. So how much do I need? I want a little dark.
Yeah, that's much.
So really mash it. See, mash. Scrape, mash both sides of the palette. So there's a good dark. Nice dark. And then take what's on there. I never bother wiping my palette in between mixing because I may as well use what's on here. Into here, put a tiny bit of white just to see what colour it is. Because you can see the grey, you get a nice grey. It's pretty grey actually. But into that I'd add a little tiny bit of red. One of the reds, because there is a lot of red in the skin, so just a little tiny bit of that red, see? So you can get a kind of pinky, reddy, grey colour. That's all right, I'll keep that on there. So there's my dark, and there's a version of that. Use that, I always bring it across. Now we'll add an orange into it. So we know how to make oranges, yellow and red. So we'll add some yellow to that. You can mix it and see what it does as you go, if you want. And put a bit of red into that. So I'm looking for a kind of
Pinky red.
this kind of colour, the darker. See, that's kind of not too bad. I could put a tiny, tiny bit of blue in it just to see, shadow it up. See, that gets a bit of a shadow colour. It's kind of in there. It could be a bit redder actually, but I want to kind of keep that because that might be handy. So I'll bring what's on my palette down here, mix it again, make it a little bit redder. Try a bit of the cad red in it. Note when I add a colour, it gets quite bright, so I can tone that down a bit with a tiny bit of white. So I'll put it there just to make sure I haven't got too much there. See that? Looks a bit more natural then. Kind of in there. It could be a bit more of that rosy pink. So I could keep that and then bring it down here. I tend to do that. See what happens when I do that. Bit of this pink in it. See? Change up the red a bit. If it's too red, a little bit of yellow in it. To see, natural it up a bit. The orange works better. That's all right. I might keep that, and I might put a bit of white in what's down here. Check that. That's a bit grey, but see there is greys in there, so that can be handy too. That kind of colour. I'm running out of paint, so I almost need to make another pile. I'll make some lights here. So grab a big lot of white. Actually mix whatever's in my knife on there. I don't like wasting paint. So every time you wipe it on your rag, you feel like you're wasting a lot, but you may as well use it. Now look at that, it's quite light. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red. Choose that one. It's a little bit more red. Yeah, that's not bad. Then I'm getting it up in these light colours. But see how well I'm mixing it. It's so important to mix it well. What do we got up here? So it's still quite high key, but it will be useful in the high key part. So I'll just scrape that and put that down and use what's on my knife again and tint that down a bit. I'll go the other way. So sometimes it's good to go from the light down too, so you can mix both ways. Bit of yellow, bit of red in it. Look at that. It's quite a pretty colour. Check what's on it. See close in there and here? And I also think with paint, like you want to go a little bit brighter on your palette, because once you start putting it on there and mixing with some of the other colours, it dulls up a little bit anyway. So it's nice to have pretty bright on here.
So is that enough paint? See, the trouble is with mixing all like that, as much as, you know, I get it, is the fact is that when you run out of it,
You have to mix it again.
You have to mix it again and think, how did I mix that?
I always think, so you've got a choice of these colours somewhere in there, and you know if it's really light, it's got a lot of white in it, so start with white, and you're just adding bits of that, really. If it's, see that's got a lot of yellow in it, so you put a bit of yellow in, yeah. And if you get too much, you can just take a bit of it aside. So for example, you know, if I had this and I've got a lot of that, I'm thinking, oh, I want something, take a bit of it aside and start adding other things to it, like I'm going to make a kind of light shadow colour. See this? Light, it's kind of not that dark, but it's also cooler. So I took that, I put a bit of blue in it, that's way too blue, so I'll put a bit of that in it maybe. A bit of brown in it.
One thing I did find about oils is that they are forgiving in the sense that if you go really off-centre on your colour,
yes,
that you don't need to throw it away. Just keep working on it.
Just keep working on it. Take a bit aside.
Yeah.
Take a bit aside and tweak it and tweak it. Yeah, you don't need to throw it away, because at the end of a painting, if you've got a lot left, mix it all together and maybe do the background. Or sometimes I even mix it all together and I've got an oil painting that I don't like and I want to paint over it. I'll paint a bit on that, let that dry, and then I'm ready to go with something else, you know. So you don't need to ever waste anything. Or cover it and put it in the fridge and it'll last for quite a while. Apparently it lasts indefinitely in the freezer if you cover it, so you can do that too. What else am I gonna? So here we've got white, so we're pretty high. I could make a really light grey actually. That's kind of always nice to do. Have a light grey because it's a bit sticky my part, but not to worry. So I'm putting a little tiny bit of that Payne's grey, and see I put it there because there might be too much on there.
Would you add a bit of medium if it was sticky like that?
You could add, well, a little tiny bit of solvent or medium, yeah, you could. But I don't want to get it too runny, so see that? That's, look at the difference there, but that is kind of going to work in the light here better than straight white. So that's almost straight white, but it's cool. I've cooled it down with the grey in it. That might be a good place to start. What happens if I do this? Couldn't help myself. Play with the mixing, because mixing is kind of important and it gets you in the headspace too. So I dump a bit of brown in that.
It gives you more control, doesn't it, if you spend the time to do this?
Yes,
now.
it does. Yeah. And I haven't wiped my palette knife once. Mind you, I probably should have a rag somewhere. Here's a rag. Okay, just in case. Now, take a brush, probably bigger than you need. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll use this brush. We want to draw this ear on, so I'm going to use one of my darks, or just burnt sienna might do it, or that dark there. Which ear should I do? Which ear would you like me to do of these two? Choose.
First one.
That one?
Yeah. With
That
the
one?
earring.
Yeah? Okay. You know, I'm going to fold that underneath so we don't get distracted by that. There we are. Okay. I feel like I want to be neat and put on that, so I'm going to do it there. Take some burnt sienna maybe. And I'm going to draw it with a drag. No solvent, no nothing. I think the best thing to do is to just give yourself the shape you're going to do it in, right? Do that. See this nice drag? That's so forgiving too. So this is a good way to draw. If anyone's really worried about drawing, I have got carbon paper if you want to trace it, but it's not that hard, so it's up to you. Okay. So the ear, we'll just get that shape in. So in this sort of drag, just get these shapes in like this, and that one there. Yeah. Bottom of the ears down here. I've got some hair. A little bit more paint. Alright, I'll show it. I'll put a tiny bit of solvent on that. I mean, corner dot, see? Not much. Just for this hair bit. We don't want too much of that. So I'm just outlining my darks to begin with. There, we got that. See that bit in there? I could, if I've gone too far, I could just use a rag and draw back in there like that. That kind of draw is pretty easy, but that's with the solvent. We'll get that drawing in. I want the drag more than anything, so a bit of that down there. We've got the shadow down there. Okay, now I've got that drawing. I can start painting, so I'll see what happens when I use a straight paint. So I'll start with my darks, which is not the black, so that blue and brown. And we'll put a bit of, get those darks in. Try and follow the shapes of this. I'll put that in, put that line in there. And then see it moves up to a bit of red there. So I'll take some of that browny red I've mixed into the dark there. Lay that next bit on there, like that. And there's a bit in here. Maybe we'll get that outside of it here. Down here. There's a little bit of dark down the bottom there, so I'll take a bit more of that dark there. Put that in here. And I'm happy for questions if ever there are any. Okay, I'm not going to touch the hair too much yet. Now go up a key again. I can, how much have I got? If there's too much dark on my brush, I can just wipe it. Don't wash it. You don't need to wash it. Okay, so up here, this sort of pinker colour, so that maybe. Try a bit of that. Is that gonna? It's a bit too dark. Actually, I might mix a bit of that pink in with it there. We'll try that. And I'm not blending anything. I'm just laying the colours down. It goes a little bit grayer in there, or that pink's here, so I might put that pink there as well. That will mark out that. It joins to there. Gets a little bit pinker, so I'm going to take a bit of red into that pile. See that? I'll put that a little bit redder than I need down there. I like that actually. And that bit there. And then maybe this bit here would be good. See, that's pink with a bit of grey, so maybe I take that pink into that corner of that pile. Never mixing into a full pile, just into a little bit of it. So I want to get that greyer colour that goes, yeah, that's good. Quite like that. Into there like that. Where else could that go? Maybe around there like that. Maybe a bit here. See, I'm working quite dry. Like that. I'll go up another key now. Although there's that little shadow in there, which is next to that. And that's darker, I know, so I can come in there again. Maybe I'll do that one again. So I'll take the straight dart, that hole.
So you're not, you did say that, you're not cleaning your brush between, just go.
No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
That one, and I'll just redo that a bit there, getting clean them up there, see? Now I don't want all that dark on, so I'll just wipe it. Just like that. Now I'm going to, where am I going next? Oh, into here, I think. See that edge there? It's a little bit grey, so I'll mix a bit of that with a bit of the grey. And it's sort of next to there. Comes right to that edge there. What I'm trying to do is get some paint on the painting, like a fair bit of paint. That bit in there I want to get next. Want a fair bit of paint. It gets darker as it goes on there, so I'll just get a bit more of that dark and push it into there. Yeah. Now I might get some of these super lights actually. This is where I could put this brush aside and take another brush. So now I'm going to have two brushes, one for my mediums and darks and one for my lights. Yep, that's not going to fall off. Sometimes I do, don't I? I don't know what that is. So I want to see that bit. I just feel like I need that there. So I'm going to take some of this light. So what happens now is I can put the lights on, but I'm not going to mix them with my darks. I'm going to keep them separate for as long as possible. I'll go down there a bit. Is there a hair in there? Not to worry. Go down this way a bit. There. Oh, it's a bit yellower in there, see? So I'll put a tiny bit of this yellow into the corner of that and a bit more white. So I get a little tweak of a version of that. Makes all the difference, because this is the inside of the ear. So I'll put that one on, it comes over there and then thins out there a little bit. Now I've picked up some dark on my brush, because see it went through there, so I need to wipe that off. Just wipe it off. And that's fine. Now I want to go, see there's the inside of the ear and the outside of the ear. The inside of the ear is a little bit bluer. This is where I can use this cooler grey. And I'll get that inside light bit first. Push it up into the paint. Maybe, and see it goes a bit darker there. So I'll take what's on my brush and just a little bit of something to darken it. It doesn't actually really matter what at this stage, believe it or not. I'll put that on there like that. And then I want to get this top edge, see that top edge, which means I need to wipe my brush. So a little bit careful planning and thinking. So I'm going for this yellow again, a bit more white, bit of yellow. So it's different than what's behind it. And I'm going to push that on top of there like that. I've picked up some red, wipe my brush, a lot of wiping, but that's all right, because it comes together pretty quickly. This bit here, see that's too dark, I can see that now. I can either paint over it, or I could just wipe that bit away and then paint over it. So it's this yellowy light again. So I'll pull it down here over the top. See how it goes over the top? Easy. And then it goes a little bit pinker up there. So I'll just get that more pink version. Maybe I'll mix a bit of pink into it. Like that. And I'm getting that underneath there like that. See? Now what? This is too greeny. See, it gets a bit redder in there. So I'll go back to my dark brush, wipe it, make sure there's nothing on it that I don't want. No solvent, no medium as yet, which is amazing, isn't it, really, when you think about it, but it's good. Because it gets fun. Once there's a lot of paint on, I'm just making a ready version of that, because it's going to mix with that dark in there, you see. You'll mix with that. Softly bring it out there. And see, it's a little bit darker in the middle. So take a little bit more of that dark into that red, kind of mix it together so I get a softer kind of dark, and put that in there like that. Now what do I need to do? I want to pick up that, see how it goes around there? It's quite light. Go back to my light brush. Wipe it when you pick up a brush when you don't know what's on it. Yeah, so it's this grey colour. So I'll start this way here and then come around there a bit. Wipe my brush, load it again, because I'm picking up paint all the time. That's just something to remember with this wet on wet. I can put that in like that. Now I think I want to come in here or get that shadow there. No, I'll come in with the face, I think. So what are we? A little bit of this. And also notice now I'm mixing with my brush into the pile. So I've done my main mixing with my knife, but now I can use my brush. So I want to push that down there. We'll bring it across there like that. And it's a bit redder in there, so I'll just take some of this red probably into it. Get a bit of that shadow going in there a bit. And a bit browner as it goes across, so I'll take a little bit of brown in here, it goes off into there. Just getting those a bit yellow down. See, I'm looking here. Just want to push some of that into it. Oops, that's a bit too yellow. Not to worry, I'll just tweak what's on my brush and kind of push it in there. Right.
They just connect it.
kind of,
big,
yes.
huge difference.
So what do I need to do now to kind of help me see? I need to do some of that dark hair around it. So I'll get this brush and wipe it, or I could go for a bigger brush actually. No, maybe I'll stick with this brush. So this is where I'm going to use my dark, my Payne's grey, maybe mix it with a bit of this brown to get that bit more brown, to get that real dark. And I probably could use just a little tiny dot of solvent, just because there's a fair bit of, I want to cover here, so bring it into here, go up there, and it's behind the ear there. No more solvent than that. That kind of comes up here, here. See how it pushes my ear forward? And through the middle there, it's a little bit more brown in there, so I'll take more brown into that area here. Oh, just that bit. And then I want to take some brown and make some yellow and white. Yeah, like that kind of tone. Because I'm looking at the lighter hair. So just put that on there. Actually, I did. If I went too far, I can wipe it a bit because I want to go lighter in there. Lighter again. White. Lots of yellow and white maybe. So we go up here. And that key, that's probably good. Yeah, that would be good. What is that noise? There, okay, now probably what I want to do is here. So, well, I can use this brush actually. That light yellowy kind of creamy colour, let's put that on first. Mixing, you know what I should do now actually? I should use my knife and mix up a pile of that colour because I need a fair bit. So you could do that, just really quickly mix like an orange first, a bit more red in it, and then white. Well, that's got a huge lump in it. Then white. And I need to grey up a little bit, so a little bit of that dark. That's not too bad, a bit more dark. Oh, that's probably alright. Yeah, like that, that's good. See? Okay. Wipe my brush, get into the habit of wiping the brush. So I'll just put that in here. And I want to get that shadow, so I'll take some of that grey, maybe a bit of brown in the grey. Get that shadow in, painting it into that wet paint there because a bit redder as it moves across it. Continuously loading your brush. See how it's a bit redder there? What you don't want to do is push the paint around too much on here. You can push the paint around, but you've got to keep putting paint into it. You don't want to move what's on there around, you want to add to it. Always think adding, I'm always adding. Because when you push the paint around too much without adding, that's how it looks muddy. But as you lay the paint on top, it looks cleaner. And darker, right dark under there. So I'll grab some of that dark. I'm looking right under here. I'm not putting the earring on yet, but I will put it on. I could put it on in a sec actually. Okay, now where? So I need to go back in here and do some definition. See, so now I can start putting wet paint into wet paint. Maybe I should put that little bit of tone there first. How did that time? Not too bad. We did a bit of talking at the beginning, so just get that tone in. Right, back to the ear. Go for my light. I think I want to go for the light first. So I want to kind of define this a bit more. So I'll get that light pink, load my brush, lay it on, load my brush, so it's load your brush, lay it on, load your brush, lay it on. So it gets pinker up there, so I'm going to take some pink I like to exaggerate the pinks in the ears. If I can push that out a little bit because I feel like my ears are a little bit elongated that way. Got a bit pinker in there. And then grey into it. See, I want to grey that off. And then brown into it. What do you think?
I'm lost.
What do you mean you're lost? Where are you lost?
No bit of pink, no bit of brown, no bit of...
I'm just sort of...
We won't be as quick, Jo.
We don't.
We just...
You don't see that.
You can...
I get...
variation.
We get the...
shade.
You get the theory, though.
It's the
looking-
process, so you can take your time a bit more. I'm trying to paint super quick.
I know.
But see, I can see I need to fatten this bit up in here. Now I'm going to swap to a soft brush. See, a much softer brush. I'll pass these, these are just, pass that around. Because now that I'm putting wet paint into wet paint a lot more, these bristle brushes, which great to start with, they pick up too much paint. So this will put it on more easily. So let's go into that. Once you do it for yourself, it's all right. Like, see, I can lay it on, load it up, lay it on, load it up. It gets a little bit cooler as it goes in there. Just tweak what's on your brush with something cooler. You need a tiny bit of blue in there.
See, the key component is seeing those colours. Yeah. You know, the blues and the yellows and the...
Yeah. And then maybe I want to round that out a bit more, so I'll use a softer brush. I could have two on the go again, one for dark, one for light. So that in there is a little bit browner, so a little bit of brown, a little bit of blue. And I can, see this? I can just scoop that out a bit rounder, see? White, load my brush. Do it again to get that, and it's a little bit of pink in the middle of it. Just a little bit of light, so I want to put that in there, just softly. And then go up and wipe my brush again. But now that I've got all this paint on, right, it's like I'm sculpting. It's sculpting like with clay. You get this beautiful softness happening. You see that light edge there? So I'll just take this brush, load it up with something lighter.
And the key component I can see there too, it's like it's just go in there and do one stroke. It's not this, you know, how we might move the brush up and down and stuff like that.
Yes, there's none of that. One stroke.
One stroke.
One stroke, just rounding it off. And as you get more paint on, your strokes get softer and softer. See how soft that was?
Jo's still traumatised by the amount of paint.
Are you traumatised by the amount of paint?
Well, she's, you know, very realistic in her paint.
I'm going to have a go in a minute.
Go for alternative.
That's right.
Any questions? Do you feel like you want to have a go now? Do you want to have a go?
No.
I'll put the earring on. Okay. So I'll start with the earring. I'll just get those little dark bits in. I'll just do that like that. I don't know what that is. It's something down the back. But then I'll put the light on. So wipe my brush. Get some straight white. Or I could go grey first. Tiny bit of grey. I'll just kind of go like that. Like that. And then I could maybe go a little bit of yellow in the white for a dot on top. And then I could just paint around the ear again with that sort of soft, what is that colour? Greeny kind of grey. You just chop that in like that. And there's a little bit up here. I mean, I'm not even standing back. You really do need to stand back and look what you're doing. I need to do something there, get a bit lighter in there. But look, I could be here for another hour. I want you to have a go. I really do. Just go up there a little bit in there. And get a little bit more light on there, and then I want you to have a go yourselves. So if you don't want to use so much paint, go smaller. That's the thing. Just go a bit smaller. But it's fun using all that paint. You can use some of mine. There's a lot there too. So grab some of that. We won't waste that. Okay, here's that look like. Oh, it's beginning to look like an ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? Now I'm excited. Chuck it on.
Looks like an ear to me.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've got stacks of images. So I did. So I've got big and small, big and small. So if you want to go small, take a small image. It's easier to kind of wear it from the same size that you're doing. If you want to try big, go big. More paint with the bigger brushes. Less paint with this, maybe do two, and we'll see. Yeah, and just sing out if you're stuck. So have you all got some prime paper or something to work on?
I've only got coloured prime because I didn't have any white gesso.
We've got canvas sheets. If you want a canvas sheet, you can buy a big one, and then over the next 4 weeks you can do the studies on that if you want. Or I've got small ones, so I'll get them out.
I've got my
I've got some ideas.
I've got my journal. Do you want your journal?
Yeah, if you do need to write it down. Just so if it's possible, you got coloured down. Is it light?
No,
It'll be all right though.
I can push that.
I'll get some paint. What you want to do, gesso or?
Well, I can just blow dry. Oh, well,
I've got big ass.
I'd like to keep it in my book.
Yeah, but I know it's nice to keep it in your book. What have you got? Do you want a big one like that? Yeah, like what we did on that one. Yeah, that's a good idea.
How much are those?
I think they're $4. $4. I didn't think it was on this one.